Michael's back with me. And Michael, we just wanted to talk about pricing, but I think more important, how developers and businesses who are thinking about using RAD Server, how do they package this up and deploy it? What are the different common business scenarios, and what does it mean as it relates to features and pricing?
Sure. So there's really three different types of kind of core scenarios. There's the single site scenario, multi-site, and then per device, and they're really designed for different types of customers and use cases. And we understand that everybody's business is different, and everybody's applications and solutions are different, and they're priced differently. And so we want to try to achieve simplicity to make this easy and affordable to consume and deploy. But we also want to provide flexibility so that it can work with a wide variety of different business types. We have really two key different customer types. Customers that are building internal solutions, sometimes we call them enterprise customers or enterprise solutions. And these are development groups that are building a solution for internal consumption. So it's something that's going to be deployed inside the same company that's developing the solution, and it's going to be consumed by typically internal users, but it could be external users on a web, through a web page or through remote clients. But basically, it's not for resale. It's something for internal consumption and internal use. And then we have the other set of our customers who are ISVs or independent software vendors who are building solutions that will be redeployed across other organizations. So they're building solutions either for resale or part of some type of hardware-software combination, something that's going to be redeployed or resold to many different organizations. And there's really two scenarios there, and we'll talk about each. Talk about those inside the ISVs. But to start with, for enterprise customers or for internal use, we have our single site license, which is it's 5K per server, and we've made this unlimited users. If you remember in EMS, it was a charge per user, and these could get quite expensive very quickly. As in internal use, we have customers that have tens of thousands of internal users, and so we wanted to make this something that every Delphi developer, every company that's using building a Delphi solution could use. And so we set the price at 5K for unlimited users, and that's for a single server. And what we mean by a single server is a single back-end user database, essentially. You can have, we do allow redundant endpoints. So you can have a single back-end which has your user database and your authentication rules and access control rules and things like that. And that's kind of the controller on the back end. And then your endpoints are individual modules, and those can be redundant. You can have multiple. So if you have one endpoint called, let's just say it's called currency conversion, you could set up 5 of those on for scale or for redundancy and failover, and use IIS's web infrastructure to manage that. And that's all included under the single site license. So failover and scale are all built in from that perspective. Now, if you have different departments in your organization, or it's a very large organization, and they're going to have different solutions running on different servers and with different backends. So if we move to the next slide here, this would be using the single site solution, but using multiple servers. So basically, this would be, you'd have a separate license for each backend, and each backend would have a different user database and different authentication rules, etc. And again, this is really geared more towards internal use enterprise organizations. The next scenario is the per device licensing. We have a set of customers who are typically ISVs building solutions that have very low user counts. As I said earlier, everybody's different. Everybody has a different business model and different types of solutions. And there is a segment of customers that have very small user counts. So they're out deploying a solution. We have one that has a solution for clinics that they have 3 or 4 clients. And so they have many different locations that they're deploying to. So they maybe one in every city, and every city in Europe will have a clinic, but they only have 3 or 4 clients accessing each of those locations. And so for that, we've developed the per device licensing model. That's basically for many locations but low user counts, and that's just priced at $99 a client. That helps facilitate that particular type of a customer model, measured basically by the hardware device. So an iPhone or an iPad or a desktop PC or Mac. And then per device licensing for multi-site and multi-server. This is basically the same model we just described, really. This is just taking that and spanning it across multiple sites. So in this case, you're just expanding it across multiple end customers. What's measured and what's licensed are the end client devices. If you are building a solution that's going to go across one or many customer locations, but it's going to only have a few clients per customer location, then you want the per device licensing. That'll give you the most affordable solution and the most scale. Clearly, if you started this in this model and you wanted to and you evolved your solution up to where you had thousands of end clients, then you might want to switch your licensing model over, and we'd be happy to work with any of our customers on tuning the solution to the right business model if their business evolves or changes over time. And then the last one is our multi-site license with unlimited users. And this is for our larger ISVs who are basically deploying high user count solutions across many different sites. For this, this would be very similar to the single site license with unlimited users, but we'll tailor this solution for your particular business. And just very similar to Interbase, when the deployments get high, our sales team will work with you on a pricing model that'll fit your business model and work for both Embarcadero and your business.
The pricing is that per deployed application? Is that per year?
It's a license price, and there's a maintenance component, and that maintenance component is the renewable component. Let's just say on the single site unlimited users license, that's $5,000 for the license, and it's, I believe, 25% for the maintenance component, and that's the only part that's renewable. If you remember back to EMS, it was a subscription fee, so the EMS pricing was higher and it was annual. Now it's a single price up the license, and then there's a smaller annual maintenance fee.
So as we add functionality to the RAD server underpinnings, you would get that RAD server functionality as part of maintenance.
Correct. Both new features, performance enhancements, and quality fixes. Mm-hmm. So bug fixes. And
we started RAD server. You need, what is it, RAD Studio or Delphi or C++ Builder Enterprise and above. 10.1 Berlin.
Correct. For the development side, you need it requires any enterprise. We call enterprise class SKU or edition, which would be enterprise or architect of Delphi, C Builder, or RAD Studio. In Berlin, all of the RAD server components for developers is included, and there's an eval license included. So you could get started today just with Berlin out of the box.
And that's for doing development, for doing debugging, testing, doing some test on a cloud server or whatever, again, to make sure that the solution that you're building, the service you're building, is working.
Correct.
And then either go online or contact us or our reselling partners for the actual final deployment.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Michael. And now we'll take your questions.